Okay guys, I think we're ready to try to move her for the first time in many years. As you can see, I got the core support and the radiator back in and all the hoses and everything put back up. I even got the doghouse put back together. And unfortunately, even though I couldn't find any leaks, after a couple of days it lost the coolant. I inspected everything really closely again, and I could find no leaks other than there was a couple of hose clamps down below that had a little bit of coolant on them, so I'm hoping I just needed to tighten the clamp. So I went through and tightened up all the clamps and refilled it. Time will tell if that takes care of it. Check the timing. It's dead on, so previous quote-unquote mechanic at least got something right. And this carburetor needs more attention than I gave it. It's running really lean. If I choke it, the engine starts running a lot better. So that thing's got a plugged passage or jet in it, but it needs more help. But I'm more than likely not going to bother with that. Let's see, anything else? I'm going to have to back it up and get it off of the chocks and then start it back up again, because the only way I can keep it from rolling is parking it in gear. So I'll do that and bring it back. Okay, we're about ready to get moving here. Unfortunately, I can't shut the lid of the doghouse because I got my fuel line from the Pony fuel tank in the way, so it'll be a little noisy. Fuel pump on. A little bit of brake. A little bit of engine. Let's roll. Alright, let's try that. it is hot with this engine bay open, sitting next to it in the radiator. But it moved okay, and even what I had for brakes works, so that's cool. So I think that's pretty much going to be it for this project. I'm going to do a general cleanup, get it out from behind my back 40 here, and put it up for sale. Hopefully somebody else will be able to come along and enjoy finishing this up. It's kind of fun driving a cab over. It's been a while. Alright, well, thanks for hanging out during this long adventure here, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Okay, I'm going to make a small addendum here to tack on to the end of the last video. But it's 2 days later from our little test drive, and the radiator was still holding, which is great. But up here is where they coupled the two heater hoses together, and it was still showing some green coolant between them. And they had a hokey piece of pipe in there holding it together, so I just replaced that with a proper hose coupler. So it's a barbed fitting coupler, and you can see up here where the hose is originally hooked up to on the heater core, but that needs to be repaired before this can be hooked back up. I checked the gear oil and the rear end and transmission. Transmission level was good, but the fluid is contaminated, so next owner will want to change that. And the rear end, the level was really low, so I filled that back up. This is that piece of pipe they used to couple those hoses. Looks like either a gas line pipe or a sink water line with the ends cut off of it. It's actually a spiraled, what is that, the flex. The flex is a spiral, so it's not just ringed. So obviously the fluid was just screwing its way out of there. How they got it to seal the first time, I guess they were just lucky, because it wasn't leaking before. But after I replaced that old hose with the new one, the new side was leaking. Barely, but it was there. So that's done. And when I was driving it, I discovered these mirrors are just mossed over, so they're gonna need a good scrubbing because they're pretty worthless right now. This upper new radiator hose, there's a kink right here that I don't like, but the one that came off is the same way. And this flex hose is what this thing calls for when you look it up in the book, so whatever originally went there must not be available anymore. So on the new one, I cut the ends down a little bit, shorten that up a little bit so I can massage some of that kink out of it. Don't much care for it, but since the other one was like that and it did work, I guess it'll have to live. But I think that's it. I mainly wanted to do a little follow-up with the cooling system check and the fluid check. And I'll go ahead and tack it on that video and upload it later today. So thanks again for watching. In fact, after I get this thing out from behind the back 40 here, probably take the pressure washer to it, get all the moss and barnacles off of it. It's got growth.